very proud and happy to have you here tonight, along with my colleague Adrian Oschen. Adrian is the studio manager for Genesis Studio Basel. So now it's show time. I'm really delighted to have with us our host tonight, Emma Nelson. She is the voice of Monocle Radio, and she will be introducing you to our lovely guests and running the show. I wish you a very lovely evening here in Basel, and thank you for being with us.
Good evening, guten Abend, bonsoir, buonasera. We're trying to act around here. If my guests could sit down, Manuela, could you pop this up there? Ginny there, Heiko, and the little friend there. A very good evening to you, and thank you, Irene and Adrian, for that very, very warm welcome. We have quite a cosy gathering today. Cuddle up around the cars if you want to, because afterwards you will be able to get even closer to the cars. If you want to get inside the cars, there are GPAs, Genesis Personal Assistants, who will be able to help you get to know the cars a little bit better. But for the next 20 minutes, we're going to be talking about a subject which is very, very close to Monocle's heart at least, which is design and quality of life. And the importance of bringing the two together, which is something that Basel is incredibly good at doing. Because having spent the last 24 hours here, I've worked out that if you turn left, you end up in France, and if you turn right, you end up in Germany. So this is this perfect meeting place. Right, let's begin. Ginny Litscher is a design artist, founder of Ginny Litscher. Her favourite thing about her job is doing something she loves. She's wearing what she does, ladies and gentlemen. She's wearing a rather beautiful silk scarf. Ginny is a creative force of nature. She makes scarves, she makes wallpaper, but that doesn't even begin to describe what she does. The quality and the craftsmanship that goes into what Ginny does is breathtaking, and she'll show us a bit in a minute. Heiko Stahl is Senior Vice President for Global Markets at Vitra for 15 years. Favourite part of your job, travelling and meeting people. Vitra is a work in progress, I think you said to me yesterday when we spoke. It's a constant, but a constant here in Basel as well. And finally, Manuela Schwaller is from Tricks, which is a partner and supplier of Bang Olufsen products. So we're going to talk very quickly about the principles of good design. People have brought items which kind of describe what they do. We'll talk about the creative process, and then we'll talk about the future as well. So let's begin with the principles of good design. I've asked everybody to bring in a thing that they're most proud of. Ginny, you're wearing it.
I am.
Go for it. What can you tell us a little bit about what you've done and what are the principles behind it?
Right. So for Genesis, this is actually my last project I did with them, and we had this event at St. Moritz, where I did a live painting, and then from that live painting, it was like inspired by the scarf. And I just show you the quick sketch, which is on the floor. So this is like the sketch I did for Genesis, and then from this I created the scarf, which I always like work from original artwork. And then from that, it gets created into a design. Thank you for your assistance. So yeah, so this is then this is like teamwork, I love it. And then this is the final scarf that I'm actually wearing now. And this was a present for the people attending the White Turf and invited by Genesis. And I just loved it because it was such a good project from beginning to end, where we just quickly decided on what colors, like how to work from it, and I love it when it's like uncomplicated and fun.
And when you're looking at, if you look more broadly about the principles of good design, what are you absolutely adhering to when you're going from start to finish with a scarf like that?
Well, ideally, like the way I would shop or want something is that you just want to have it. It just grabs your attention and you just want it. It doesn't really matter, you know. That's what I'm always aspiring to.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Manuela, please put the horses down and tell us what you've brought this evening. It's not leaving with her tonight. I brought a big bag. It's coming home with me. I don't know if the British Airways will take it as hand luggage tomorrow. But tell us exactly what that utterly breathtakingly beautiful thing is on your lap.
This is the Biosound A5. Some say it looks like a picnic basket. It's a sound loudspeaker. It's a 360 degrees loudspeaker around it, and it's fantastic. The sound, it's a pure
sound. It's clear. It works inside, outside with Bluetooth or wireless, and I love the design.
Thank you. Now you have brought, who's that?
The elephant.
That's the elephant. Does the elephant have a name?
Not yet.
Okay, we've got 15, 20 minutes now.
That might be the question, right?
That could be. Think about it. Tell us about the elephant and why, Heiko, you think that is such amazing design.
Well, it's an Eames elephant.
If you can't see the
So
elephant, do you want to pick them, him, her?
Well, I don't know. I mean, let's keep as an elephant without any talking about he or she. It's an Eames elephant. So Charles and Ray Eames created. Without Charles and Ray Eames, we wouldn't be here. So, like years ago, in the 40s, Eames created the most beautiful chairs, I think, and the most beautiful lounge chairs and stuff like this. In '55, Paul Fehlbaum met the Eameses. We decided, let's do the products for Europe. And Eames always had the idea to bring design also closer to the kids. So here we go. That's why he did the Eames elephant in a different size, out of different material these days. So I have time with, I'm always carrying this little fellow with me. So if you travel a lot and you have that on the hand luggage, you always have a conversation starter about it, which is not too bad.
They've never gone in the overhead locker.
And, well, they are okay.
Okay.
He's happy in there.
Okay. Not under the seat in front of you.
No, not under the seat in front of me. But the thing with that one is a friend of mine is an artist, and he had this topic of Heimat. So he always had the question, what the fuck is Heimat? And Heimat loves you. So I asked Stefan 6 years ago, can you use the Eames elephant and make it a special one? So that's why this one is my personal one. It's about Heimat. There's no English equivalent word for Heimat. So it's where you belong to, it's a feeling, it's not a place. And this is what we as Vitra always try to create, a Heimat, the place,
so
something more.
We now have quality of life being brought into this discussion straight away, and the idea of Heimat being something that you can't define but you know when it's right.
Yep.
Where does design fit into that?
I think if you see space as that thing where you feel Heimat, where you feel where you belong to, where you feel the identity of a company, of your home, of where you live, this is where design comes into place. Because you just don't see just the product, you see the holistic approach of the space. And this is what we do. So it's not just putting somewhere a desk, a chair, a sofa, a cupboard. It's great way more than just a placeholder for a chair. This is design. Even if it's an iconic design, even if you realize or recognize the Eames products, the Nelson products, the Provet products that you're into it all over the world, but it's not just the product, it's the detailing and it's the how they fit into the holistic approach of space.
Cool. To talk about detail in a minute because there's quite a lot of precision work being done by these two women. But the idea of Heimat, Manuela, I don't know about you, has anyone got into the car and closed the door and gone, oh, that idea that you create your own space, that sometimes no one is in. When you are designing sound for an enclosed space or for a bigger space, that idea of Heimat is quite important, isn't it?
With Bang Olufsen, this is our Tonmeister, Jeff Martin, and he has his own room where he is inside and creates these emotions and these feelings. And when I listen to Bang Olufsen or music of Bang Olufsen, it gives me also a feeling of Heimat, a safe space in an open world, like a bubble. And it's so many emotions, and I just can turn off. And that's what B&O creates, these emotions. Your place, your emotions, your memories. And the same is with the car, with the G90. You close the door and you're in your own world. You can't hear the traffic. You listen to your music.
You can hear.
Yeah, you can. Of course you can.
Always
police officer here.
You used to be a police officer,
yes,
right? Okay.
So now you're just in your own world and in your car, and you can turn off. You can put work aside. You can put stress aside. And just create your moment and your feelings, emotions in the car, and calm down. And yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
And this is interesting for you as well, Ginny, isn't it? Because you not only create wallpaper, which creates a sense of space through design, and the wallpaper that you make is very powerful and often incredibly exuberant. And often when you see the pictures that your wallpaper is placed next to, all the furniture is incredibly neutral and incredibly calm. So you're creating a space through your design. That's the big scale. Yet the pleasure of feeling a silk scarf on one's neck is a very, very personal and very comforting thing. But it also can elevate an outfit, it can elevate how you feel about a day. I love this. They just swap.
I mean, personally for me, I just remember when I grew up, like I was reading a lot of books and it was for me, and also speaking of like a place where you feel at home, it was like a way of connecting with people that I've actually never met in my life and probably never will meet. And for me, it was this way of living in their world for a couple of weeks or days. And so that really was important to me to kind of have that voice that you could read from other people. And for me, if I work on a like scarf or if I do a wallpaper, it's creating also a world that people could live in or wear, or I just love this idea of connecting with people without having to meet, but there's like this connection.
And there is that intricacy, isn't it? Let's dive a little bit deeper as to what you do, because the paintings that you create are very, very intricate. And how long do they take? And what goes on inside Ginny's head when you see a blank canvas and you think, I need to make a scarf today, or I'm going to make a scarf? Then what happens next?
Well, I mean, normally the images just come into my brain and then I do it. So the process is more like, working on it, and then it's also almost a way of meditating while I'm drawing or painting, but I always know what the outcome should be. So I'm working towards, it's not like going to be a surprise for me. Like I have the image in my brain and then it's just about doing it, which takes forever.
How long does it take?
Longest painting took me like 4 years.
Oh, that is a long time.
Yeah.
Why did it take you 4 years?
Well,
not continuously.
No, but like again and again, and then, yeah.
What did it turn into? What was the end product?
It's like a really big painting, very detailed, of 3 ravens, and then there's like a light figure in the middle, and warriors in the sky. So
all around your neck. Oh, this is all.
That's the painting.
That's the painting.
Yeah.
Okay. And just tell us a little bit more about the fact that when you are doing that, I asked you to talk us through the scarf a little bit earlier, and there was the sense that there's a wearability aspect to it, that what you are wearing, what you are drawing and painting is a piece of art in itself, yet it has to be utterly wearable. So how does that guide the decisions about where you paint something or what you include or exclude from the design?
Right, so I have like 2 images in my brain. One is the actual final product, so I actually see how the scarf should look or the wallpaper as a design, and then I also see the painting. So it's kind of like a very organized way of working because it's all in my brain from the beginning, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. And when it comes to the design of Vitra furniture, I mean, you joked a little earlier on about how hard is it just not to create just another chair. Anybody who ever goes to Salone del Mobile in Milan goes, up until recently, it was the place where there was another chair, and another chair, and another chair. Where does the design principle stem from when it comes to Vitra? In the same way that Ginny wakes up in the morning, picks up her brushes and thinks, I've got ravens, I've got things in the sky, this is going to be amazing.
We always ask at the beginning, what would Charles say? So it was always the question, if a designer comes in, if we're working and creating a new product, we always have the question, what would Charles say? So Charles means it's always there. Even if he's not there anymore, but it's still there. But for us, the most important thing, we don't want to be irrelevant. If we create a product just because we want to have another chair, that makes no sense. That makes sense if there is something new, if there's a new material, if there's something adding value, if they're adding to your lifestyle, to your comfort, to whatever. But just to do another chair is absolutely senseless. So,
what would Charles say?
Or Charles would say exactly the same. I hope we can't ask him anymore, unfortunately. But it's really we don't want to be fashion. We try to be for more than one generation there. So if we talk about longevity, that's what we are talking about. That's what we want to keep. If we talk about quality, if we talk about material, if we talk about the design, and it all starts with the design. At the end, it's not the material we are using. At the end, it's not the fabric we are using. It's about the design that it works out to stay there for generations. And this makes it quite complicated, to be honest. It's not just there, another chair for half a year or whatever, and then the next one. No, we want to keep the chair for a generation in our product portfolio.
And it has to go in all kinds of different spaces as well.
All different spaces. That makes it another very special topic, because it's transversal. It's not a product which lands in the office or at home or at the hospitality at the hotel. You can use it wherever you want. What is a lounge chair? Is a lounge chair for at home, for the hotel, for the lobby in the office, for your own office? You can put it wherever you want to have it. And this is always the trigger for us, to create something where you decide where you want to have it. It's not us telling you, I want to put it there, you have to put it there. No, it's you to decide, this is the right spot for my product.
And it's the emotional connection that counts.
And it's the absolute emotional connection with it. You're sitting on it, you're using it. We are pretty close. We are not as close as a scarf, but we are pretty close, and we are in the home, in the heart, in the soul of a family, of your own house, in the office. So it's very emotional. That also makes it complicated, because everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to get involved about it, which is not always easy to us.
I imagine it's probably. I do know of a family who came to fisticuffs inheriting each chair. They had a fight.
Yeah.
The bigger guy won, and the other person got the stool. So let's talk about this process, because everything that you have described takes time. So tell us about the decisions that you have to make sometimes when something goes right, but then, dare I ask, among three highly skilled people who do very good things very well all the time, has it ever gone wrong? Or I mean, for you, for chairs, and for all the other huge ranges of furniture that Vitra makes, have you ever got something?
Of course, which is pretty good, because if we would say like everything what we bring out, it's a success, I mean, no way. You can't understand future. You're working on something, you believe in something, and you bring it to the market, and all of a sudden you realize after 2 years, that makes no sense at all. But only by trying it, by only bringing it on the market, seeing it, working on it, you can getting better with the next one. You can learn something, because the design process is always learning. It's always adding something new. It's always a new skill. It's always something new for your backpack. That's so important to have some failures. I don't want to say this to our CFO, but it's important to us.
Just don't tell them. And for Bang Olufsen, there is not just that making beautiful, beautiful items, but it's making sure that you do something which is slightly better than the other people as well. And are there any moments that you actually thought, we've learned here how not to do things? There is a celebratory aspect to how to fail.
The Bang Olufsen products are mostly inspired by nature, and like the geosound shape, this is Monocle. How do you say that in English? the tiles. The inspiration was the mountains. So someone was in the mountains and they were watching the sun descending and the sun going up and down, and so how the shadow moved around the mountains. And then the idea came, oh, that's interesting, that it's not just only one fabric, that the fabric changes it with the day, with the sun or the sunshine getting in and the shadows. And so an idea starts and they try something, and of course it fails or it doesn't work out perfectly, but they never give up. Bang Olufsen, if they have an idea, they try to make it work till they are happy with it.
And then you create a project, and then in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, tiny little tweaks, tiny little tweaks. How about your learning process, Ginny? Because once you've committed your paint silk, is that always the end of the story?
Normally, I would agree. Like, I work on it until I feel like it's finished and it's done. And people around me are like, "Well, it's done from the outside." I'm like, "Well, I will know when it's done, and then I will feel it, and then it's the end of it." But I also have like examples of, like those kind of weird TV moments where you think something goes wrong, but then it's actually a new thing. Where, you know what I mean? Like, and so I have 1 or 2 things. One is when the printing went wrong, and then there was like a line below the scarf, like in the fringe. And then I went to a store and they said, "Oh, we love that line. We want this now all the time." And so like this is one thing. Or that if you like, I worked for Vivienne Westwood in London I did some drawings for them, print wise, And so I drew I had to draw flowers, and I put them on top of each other, and my favorite one on top, and I had the meeting the next day with the main print designer. And so a friend of mine stayed over, and he was feeling sick at night, and he had to throw up on top of the drawing. And I woke up and I was like about to kill him. I was like, and my meeting was in an hour, and then literally typical cliche, and I went there and she's like, oh, I love it, and maybe because it wasn't in a bad way, it was kind of acidy, and it was never mind. So I also have these examples of you think it went wrong, but then it can also be a new thing, you know? Okay. Back to you.
Anything happened at Vitra lately?
Well, we're not drinking alcohol, I guess.
Well,
no, but there will be food.
That's
sad. There's the idea that the way that the person who ends up wearing the scarf likes the font, likes the sort of the human aspect of it. And so there is that thing that at the end of the day you are always thinking about designing. You talked about houses and buildings where people live and breathe and work. How do we make sure that what we are designing now, what you are designing now, is going to create that same emotional impact with someone in 10, 20, 30 years' time, in the same way that an Eames chair will provoke a fight?
If we would know that formula, it would be so easy. So it's again always a process. We are working years. A chair is not done in a year or something. It's like a process of 4 or 5 years with different kinds. It sounds weird that you need 4 or 5 years to create a chair, but it is like it is. So it's always again, revert, start from the new, have a new input, the next step, another layer. So it's a continuous process, and we see ourselves as a project which never ends. So this is how we do the design process. It should never be, of course it comes to market, but then the continuous improvement starts. So it's never over, it's never done, which is tough. You never get a rest, unfortunately. But it should never be over, because but you don't have the guarantee that it works out. You don't have the guarantee that you like the same stuff like them or like me. So we need to design for all, which makes it complicated again.
And from Bang Olufsen's point of view, there is obviously you're designing things that are going to go in people's homes and houses, not for now, but not for 10, 20, that's going to last someone a good decade, and then you just change the battery, and guess what? It moves on to a new life. What is it, the principles that you adhere to that think actually that's going to last a long time? I think obviously precision is one thing, but also simplicity is incredibly important.
Yes, exactly. Simplicity, design, and quality. And we have a lot of clients with loudspeakers. They are 30 years old and they still work, and they bring it and we repair them and they go back, and this design is very similar to the designs now. With the one loudspeaker is the Biolab 8000. We have one similar looking, the Biolab 18. It's the same design, but of course new technology inside. But people just love their B&O loudspeakers. They wouldn't change them for new ones. They want to integrate them in a new system, and that's also possible with Bang Olufsen. You can integrate the old loudspeakers with new products from B&O.
Someone from B&O van set up in the driveway of your new house and reconfigure. That sounds like so wonderful. Yes, that's how a B&O van. But it's that idea of just making sure that the product works around you.
Yes, exactly. It works around you. And also design, like the flagship with B&O is the Biolab 90. That's the tallest loudspeaker and the most powerful one. And also design, just going back to the question before, there was also a process. They had an idea how it should look like, but it changed with the time, and the loudspeakers changed, and the fabric changed, and the ideas and the colours, and that's hearing the story about it. For us, it was absolutely fantastic seeing how the Biolab 90 was created. And then you can use it in a home cinema with TV. You can use it to listen just to music. And people with all the loudspeaker, all systems, the emotions are still there, and the quality has always been the best on the market.
And how do you feel, finally, Ginny, about the fact that someone who wears something around their neck will pass it on, will either part with it on one in one way or another, and that what you have will take on the next life. So when you're designing something, is there a sense that you know that if everything remains intact, the natural items do much more than anything artificial? That someone's daughter, granddaughter, husband, wife, etc., will in 20, 30 years' time will still find this as relevant and something to cherish.
Yeah, I mean, I love that idea, first of all, and also the way that you also said that I also want to design in the way that doesn't get, I'm not very trendy in that way that I feel like it has to be. I have people that order like from the first collection, it's not really seasonal, I feel like. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you for that. And I think this is probably a lovely moment to say, well, thank you for expressing your curiosity and your willingness to come out on an unseasonably cold night in Basel and share your advice. It isn't, am I wrong? This is all the time in London. Just to come out and have a listen and to meet new people. There will be the chance to meet new people, drink a new drink, and eat a bit of delicious food. This is being prepared and will come out in a moment. Meet a new car as well. That might be quite good fun. Enjoy the next few minutes, moments, hours, however long you choose to take this, because thank you for coming out this evening, and I think we have something for our lovely guests to just come out. Thank you so much.